It's shout-out time. WMCT-TV would like to thank our sponsors for supporting community media here in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa, offering services including extensions and keratin smoothing, coloring and blonding, precision cutting, and more. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa is located at 31 Spring Hill Ave in Marlborough, Massachusetts. The Coffee Loft. Coffee and community is their motto, as they serve up lattes, cold brew, tea, sandwiches, and pastries too. The Coffee Loft is open 7 days a week at 406 Lincoln Street, here in Marlborough. The Vin Bin, bringing you the best in wine, cheese, brew, and gourmet sandwiches for 20 years and counting. The Vin Bin is located at 91 Main Street in Marlborough. Author and illustrator Mark Martirosian, host of TV's Drawing with Mark on WMCT-TV. Mark is offering free downloadable activity pages for kids of all ages. Email pennyarcadecreative@gmail.com for more information. Leah Owen, marketing and business consultant. Leah's team members and partners share her belief that great organizations, from businesses to nonprofits and more, deserve to be seen, heard, and celebrated. From social media strategy to community events, this boutique marketing agency helps local brands and organizations grow with purpose and personality.
Hello and welcome to the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce City Council debates. My name is Michelle Mercier and I am the President and CEO of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. We are pleased to bring you this year's debate series. Our chamber is a proud supporter of both businesses and residents of Marlborough, and we appreciate the opportunity to host these debates. Before I get started, I would like to thank the City of Marlborough, the District Education Center, WMCT-TV, our moderator, timekeeper, panelists, all of them for their efforts in bringing you this debate tonight. Also, thank you to the candidates who have put in the effort into running for a chance to serve as your city councilors of the City of Marlborough. I'd also like to take a moment to share an upcoming event in case you are interested at home or anyone in the room. We are throwing a Veterans Appreciation event happening on November 6th at the American Heritage Museum. Everyone is welcome. Veterans can come for free, and we hope you'll take advantage of that. You can visit our website for more details at marlboroughchamber.org. And now I'd like to introduce our timekeeper and the Chamber's Government Affairs Chair, Emily Greenwood, President of EKG Networking.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. I want to second Michelle's thank you to all involved in making these debates happen. The Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Government Affairs host these debates to help residents make an informed choice. Early voting begins this Saturday, October 25th through Friday, October 31st at City Hall, 140 Main Street, and the Marlborough Biennial Municipal Election is Tuesday, November 4th. Tonight's forum is being broadcast live via WMCT-TV on Comcast Channel 8, Verizon Channel 34, and Verizon High Def Channel 2134, and streamed live through WMCT-TV at WMCT-TV.com. The recording will be available on the WMCT-TV website and Facebook/WMCT-TV following the event. I do want to take a moment. Ward 7 is one of those seats that Don Landers held for many years. He was a really big advocate of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce and a big advocate of the School to Business Committee. So please know Don is in our thoughts with this because he was a really pivotal person in that ward. We would be remiss if we weren't noting his absence. Our moderator for this evening will be Jessica Pesch of Pesch Law Office. Jessica is our incoming chair for the Chamber for 2026 and was selected as the Rising Star Super Lawyer for 2018 through 2025 and voted the top attorney in the Best Metro West 22, 24, and 25 competition. She is a graduate of Suffolk University and is fluent in English and Spanish. This is her first round moderating for our debates, so we really appreciate her joining our happy little band. Please welcome our moderator to introduce our candidates and panelists and explain the rules to begin the debate. Jessica Pesch.
Good evening, and thank you, Emily, for the kind introduction. I would like to start this evening by introducing the candidates and panelists for this evening's event. Our panelists this evening are Luis Thomas DaCosta of Modular Concepts, Daphne Phelan of Lucent Strategies, and finally, Julie Brown-Dahlbeck of Marlborough Wellness Center. Luis, Daphne, and Julie are all business owners in the city of Marlborough and members of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. Next, I would like to introduce our candidates in this debate. Please note, in the city of Marlborough's municipal election, political affiliations do not matter. For our Ward 7 debate, we have Greta Lofgren joining us this evening, and we also have Matthew Sargent. Welcome. So please note that for the purposes of the debate this evening, I will address all panelists and candidates by first name. Before we begin the debate, I would like to go over the format for this evening. First, for the members in our audience, you are only allowed to clap when a candidate has finished their introduction and at the end when they have completed their closing statements. At all other times, I ask you to please be courteous and remain silent. Candidates, you will each have 2 minutes to introduce yourself. In the first round of this debate, you will each be asked questions by our panelists. You will have 1 minute for your response and 30 seconds for a rebuttal. In the second round of this debate, each candidate will ask the other candidate a respectful question with, again, 1 minute response and a 30-second rebuttal. If there is time after our second round of this debate, we will return to our panelists for additional questions. And at the conclusion of the debate, all candidates will have 2 minutes for their closing statements. I ask that each of you please be concise with your answers, respectful of your time, and respectful of each other. Okay, let's commence our opening statements. Greta, we're going to start with you this evening.
Thank you. Thank you to WMCT-TV for broadcasting, and thank you to the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce for hosting. My name is Greta Lofgren, and I am running to be your Ward 7 City Councilor. I've lived in the Boston area for the last 12 years, the last 4 of those in Marlborough. I had my daughter here with my husband Harsha, and we're looking forward to her starting preschool here next year. I see a lot of people doing great things for the city, and I want to help them do it. I've built my experience in both the nonprofit and for-profit sectors, working in project management, operations, and consulting. I know what it takes to bring people together to execute on a vision. I've worked firsthand with the Massachusetts State House to get funding for a healthcare nonprofit added to the budget as a line item. So I know how to build trust, be persistent, and get things done. Marlborough needs persistence and vision to support our community, and I'm committed to serving our community to make that happen. We don't have a city planner, which means our city council and mayor are making crucial decisions that shape our city. As your city councilor, I will ensure that each decision keeps both your needs today and our future in mind. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Matthew, your opening statement.
Hello, thank you to the WMCT-TV and the Regional Chamber of Commerce for hosting tonight. My name is Matthew Sargent. I'm a lifelong resident of Marlborough. I grew up on Walnut Street in my great-grandparents' house and have lived on Denoncourt Street for almost 15 years. I live with my beautiful girlfriend, Allie, and her wonderful son, Caden. Growing up here, I did not always appreciate the many wonderful things the city has to offer. I graduated from Mass Maritime Academy in 2009 with a degree in marine engineering, and I took a commission in the Navy Reserve. And I also have a master's degree from the United States Naval War College in Defense and Strategic Studies. After 9 years of sailing ships in the Merchant Marine and Navy Reserve, I took a job in Boston. I'm currently the chief engineer at the Prudential Center. And I've been able to become involved in some of the activities and our community here at home. I've been active in the Marlborough Historical Society, ensuring the story of our past is not forgotten. And I've been giving back to our deceased veterans through cleaning their headstones with the Marlborough Veterans Council. I've also worked to tell their stories through events, most recently with the naming of 8 new city squares. My love of history, and more importantly, about our history, has led me to become more involved in wanting to give back further to our community. I'm proud of where I'm from and want to shape our community to be one that is welcoming and comfortable for people of all walks of life. From those with long family ties to the city, such as myself, to the newest homeowner, renter, or immigrant who's chosen to make Marlborough a home. I want to ensure our community is affordable, safe, sustainable, transparent, and fun. I am running for Ward 7 City Council because I care about the future of our city. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, we are going to move to the first round of our debate with panelist questions. Before we get started, I would just like to remind everyone to please try and speak into the microphone so that we can hear your answers and your questions. Okay, starting us off this evening with our first question for Matthew, we are going to begin with Luis.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for doing this. It's commendable that you are both are willing to serve, and we appreciate that. Unfortunately for you, it's a tough task because you are running to occupy Don Lander's seat. And I don't think anyone can do for this city more than Don has ever done with his dedication and love for the city. So I wish you luck. Tough task, tall order. So Matthew, we understand that there are several developments in the city that were approved at different times, but some of them came to fruition almost at the same time, which caused, some traffic, some disturbance at some neighborhoods. So, what's your vision and what's your opinion on those developments, the impact they have, and how would you do that?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So I think our development and our growth in the city needs to be a managed growth. All of those projects that have come online and we see currently that are in the process or finishing up, I think those have come about through a couple of years of a process. That wasn't something that happened overnight. So when we have managed growth within the city, we can also ensure that the growth with apartments and buildings, homes, things like that, we also will have the city services to keep up with that. So I think, looking at projects as a whole, there's a process to that. And we can make sure that throughout that process, we make sure that we're checking our boxes for the city services that are required.
Great, thank you. Greta.
May I have the question again? So I make sure I answer it fully.
Absolutely. There are several developments, new projects being built in the city. And although they are being built now at the same time, they were approved at different stages. They just came to fruition almost at the same time. And that caused some disturbance, traffic, and other disturbances to the neighborhoods. So do you have an opinion on how that development occurs and what would be your planning for that?
Okay, thank you. So I think what I've heard speaking with the residents of Ward 7 is that especially the thing that's top of mind for them would be the apartments, the development of the apartments. And so those all coming online, being under construction, blocking various roadways. I know that some of that was pressure from the state to build those, but when it impacts our residents, really every effort should be being made to limit that impact. So how can we better schedule road blockages around, the times that people are heavily commuting, as much as we can to mitigate the impact would be my number one priority, in the sense that if these are, things that we've already supported and decided we need, then we should be really making sure that our residents have the least impact.
Great, thank you. Okay. Our second question of this evening will be by Daphne, and we're going to start with Greta for this question.
Hi, Greta. While we're talking about an influx of housing construction going on here and apartments going into Marlboro, we've also seen a significant increase in homelessness around the country, around our state, and here in Marlboro. How do you plan to overcome that challenge?
Thank you. The homelessness, unhoused is, comes from when our services aren't meeting the needs of the population. And I think we can start with the last several developments have not included affordable housing. So while we do, continue to maintain an amount of affordable housing, our newest constructions have bought out of that. So making sure that we're building in resources and then making those resources available, I think, yeah, for many people, especially as inflation occurs. I mean, that's what the city is here to do, is to support its residents. So if our residents are becoming unhoused or becoming homeless, then we should be taking immediate action, identifying those people, identifying what that pipeline is, and then solving it, whether that is more housing or if they're not connected with resources, then connecting them directly.
Great, thank you. Matthew.
Yeah, so I see the unhoused situation a lot working in the Back Bay, Boston. So here in Marlborough, I think that we need to make sure that we have the resources that folks need. I think a mental health aspect also goes with that. So providing the police department with the tools that they need to, if they have to go address a homeless person in town that's living in a public area, something like that, that they have avenues so they're not just, shooing someone away. Like those folks need help, whether it's mental health help, if it is, down on the luck and they're just unhoused at that moment. But there's many different avenues. I know we have Roland's House, and I do believe that the police department has social service people that go with them. So when they go to certain events, you can call them, that they have the support that they need. But I think it also starts, going back to the state, and we need to work with our state government to provide better shelters for folks so they can get back on their feet.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, for our third question this evening, we will turn to Julie, and we will start with Matthew for the first answer.
Hi, Matthew.
Hello.
What is the most urgent local issue you see, and what's your plan to address it?
Yeah, so I think one of the most local urgent issues that I've seen and hearing people talk about it in Ward 7 is the growth, right? And so we have a lot of growth happening at the same time. And I think that we need to have managed growth moving forward. So I think that having businesses, having housing that comes in, those are all great things. I think we need to look also at senior housing. That's one thing I think we do lack. And the senior folks are not able to work at the same levels that, the younger folks are. So looking at that. But yeah, the managed growth, we need to have the managed growth to see that next, 5-10 years and what that looks like so we can keep constituent services good here in Marlborough.
Thank you. Greta?
What I've heard is I've been going door to door, knocking in Ward 7 would be the safety as kind of an umbrella term. So we have speeding happening on Hosmer, that those new, curb extensions are trying to help, because I heard from a parent that a car was speeding down that road and almost hit both a teacher and a child. So it really is becoming serious, especially when the kids are doing more walking to school. And I think also part of that would be, under the umbrella of safety would be the fire station. When there's a strain on services, it affects every ward. So we want to see that West Side fire station, as well as, we just fully staffed our police department. And so continuing to ensure that we are fully staffed will also make, public safety managed in a better way. That's also necessary.
Great, thank you. Okay, and for our final question in this round, I'm going to turn back to Luis, and you can direct this question to Greta to start.
Thank you. So I'll repeat the question about the taxes, residential taxes for next year. There is a significant increase in expenditure for next year, and the way that the city pays for its bills is through taxes, mostly commercial, industrial, residential taxes. So what's your vision and your plan in terms of making those taxes the least aggressive possible for the residents?
Yeah, my plan, so that is an extremely important piece. I think a lot of people rely on that tax rate being low and being steady. Keeping that as it is, we need to lean into where can we grow on the business side. So being really smart and intentional with a growth plan that will provide that tax revenue is really, really I mean, I see it as sort of the only option to really make those decisions, you know, as part of building a greater Marlborough. So having that, yeah, really, yeah. So just that's, I'm sort of repeating myself. I think, yeah, the taxes would need to come from continuing to improve and increase our businesses. So inviting more businesses to come.
Great, thank you. Matthew?
Yeah, I think that we have the split tax, and I think that we need to have a balance between the two. So we can't have too many businesses. We can't have too little, input from the folks paying taxes. But I think we have a pretty good balance there, and we need to make sure that going forward is good. I do see some great businesses coming in. I think the State Police Crime Lab. We also have, I believe, Moderna has some. I'm not exactly sure if it's pharmaceutical or if it's office space, but those are great things. It brings jobs. It brings a tax base in, and I do think talking with some folks in Ward 7, and it was honestly a little surprising, but a lot of folks said we don't mind paying taxes if we can see what we get out of it. So I think just little things like we have that Republic Services for picking up the trash. It comes right to the house. We have a wonderful transfer station that's grown. I've seen that grow over the years. That's great. I think our police and fire are responsive, and those are things that people like to see.
Great, thank you. Okay, thank you both for your responses, and thank you to the panelists for the questions. That concludes the first round of our debate this evening. So we are now going to move to the second round of our debate with the candidates asking each other questions. And we are going to start with Greta for the first question.
So my question for you would be, you're already involved in several committees and organizations, and how will you juggle those responsibilities along with being the Ward 7 City Councilor?
Yeah, thank you, Greta. That's a great question. So yeah, I've gotten involved with lots of different organizations. Like I said, I was at sea for 9 years, so I came home and I said, oh, cool, I can go out and get involved with all sorts of things. The role of a city councilor, I think, is extremely important and kind of takes the overall priority. I am lucky that with at least 2 or 3 of my organizations, I have a great support group with that. My Sons of the American Revolution, Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War, those folks are really supportive. And I have some folks under me that have already kind of said, like, hey, we can help out with whatever we're doing. I really do enjoy the Historical Society, and I do see that as something that, we can continue to work with. But also, too, that's all local Marlboro folks, and they understand that, as a city councilor, there is a priority and the importance of what, that job and that role. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, Matthew, your first question.
Yeah, so Greta, we've talked a lot about different things in the city, concerns and things that growth and education, safety, all the different things we mentioned tonight. If you had a blank check from the city council and you had unlimited funding to fix one issue, what would you think that would be? And
one issue? I mean, I think Marlborough in general is a great city, but I think, yeah, I mean, I've talked about safety. I do think that is a deep concern. Our roadways, the speeding, that's putting lives at risk. I think that quality education, our schools also could use some help. They're facing, unique challenges, and they're doing a phenomenal job, but I think they will continue to need more resources to support them going forward. And then, yeah, as far as a plan for the city, I think that's another area where if I had a blank check, I would be, I think we all have this dream of downtown. I think of, could it just be Hudson, copy and paste it? How could we achieve that? And I don't know that that's necessarily just a money problem. I think that is a strategic problem that needs to be solved through a lot of consideration and working with probably the landlords and driving businesses. But yeah, okay. Several problems, but in general.
Great, thank you. Okay, Greta, your second question for Matthew.
Okay, so what experience do you have in policymaking?
Yeah, so policymaking, my experience comes mainly from my military time. So working with my reserve unit and my reserve community, we kind of were building everything from the ground up. There wasn't a whole lot of policy and directive. And, we were kind of told to do a 180 and build the force from the ground up. So being involved with that from the infancy of it till now, it's been great to see how that has changed. And I think it's important to kind of have, policy that it says, you're going to do this and this is how it works. So that way people have like the strategic direction for what they need to do. I don't think we need to necessarily micromanage people, but by giving them a task and then letting them use it within the realm of their responsibility and solving it is a great way.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Matthew, your second question?
Yeah, Greta, what do you think is the biggest concern for the city currently?
I believe, we've talked about, I think, my three sort of biggest concerns that I've heard after speaking with people in Ward 7. So beyond that, I can really just kind of reiterate. I think, safety is a concern. The schools, people want, better education and then a plan for the city. So I think, I'm not sure what to elaborate on. I think I've spoken pretty thoroughly about all of them. But as far as I can just kind of go back to safety, I do feel like, we do need more resources dedicated to those problems as we do have increased homelessness. I think you touched on mental health, and I think that there is also an opportunity to kind of expand on that area as well, as our residents are kind of going to be facing more.
Thank you, Greta. Okay, and Greta, do you have a final question for Matthew this evening?
I can.
Sure.
Like what? So what has made you decide to run now?
This is kind of small, but I really enjoyed working with the city government and getting the city square signs made and seeing that process. I mean, it's a minor thing. For me, it was a big thing. Telling the story of our veterans to me is a big thing. But, just seeing that process, how it went about, how the city budgeted for it, working with the Historical Society to get the data and the information, then working, how to get those paid for, getting them installed, getting a ceremony for it. It seems kind of small, but in my head, it was really cool to see that someone like me, who really wasn't involved, could get involved and see something change within the city. And I think that there's many different avenues for anyone that wants to be involved in the city government or just the city in general to get involved. We have many different commissions and committees, and I just thought that was so cool. And also too, I grew up in Ward 7. I live in Ward 7, looking to start in a small family. I want to be able to kind of shape the future for my family.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Matthew, do you have a final question for Greta?
Why? Yeah, I'll just kind of reiterate that one. Why are you running now? Do you have anything you'd like to share on that? That's a good question. So
yeah, I think it is. I think it really gets at the heart of this because to me, I've had such a wonderful opportunity to kind of connect with Marlborough on a deeper level, and that has been so rewarding. What drove me to kind of run would be, I love listening to people, hearing their issues and then solving them. So this position is uniquely situated to deliver exactly those results, bringing them right to the forefront to the city and then resolving them on a day-to-day basis. Being part of that influential change, as well as, I have a daughter, she's 2, and I want her to have the best possible experience here in Marlborough and make sure that, she has all the resources she'll need to grow, thrive, and succeed in the way that I want every other child and also every adult to be able to kind of reach for their dreams in the way that, however the city can support them in doing that.
Great, thank you. Thank you both for your questions and your responses. We are now going to move back to our panelists for additional questions this evening. And we are first going to start with Julie on this round. The first question will start with Matthew.
Okay. being a small business owner myself, how do you plan to maintain a business-friendly climate in the city?
Yeah, so I think the business-friendly climate in the city, I think we already kind of have one. We do have some great tools. I really thought it was cool that the small pop-up shops that were behind Main Street back there in the plaza, and then to see some of those go and create brick and mortar places, I thought that was a great win. I think MEDC and using the toolbox, we can get some veteran-owned businesses in here, minority-owned, women-owned. I think they offer some really great avenues for folks to come in here, and I think that people want to be in Marlborough. We've heard a lot about it. We're a very central location, so not only for travel and business, but also just for coming and visiting. I really, I've seen downtown since I was a kid change immensely, and it's really cool to see that come along. I really think we're in a good spot to continue to see some good growth down there.
Great, thank you. Greta?
Yeah, as far as business friendly, I think that we have some pretty good policies in place to support that. I've been looking at the zoning, and I think, we have a great downtown space, and then we also have, we have our mall and we have the Apex Center, and I think those are two other places where we can also grow some small businesses into larger businesses. I think there's opportunity there to continue to kind of foster more spaces and also friendlier spaces for businesses with the support of the various councils and the city, as well as we have so many organizations that are also working to do that same level of support. So give them the resources to start small and then build big.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, Daphne, if you could ask our next question, and we will start with Greta's response first.
Sure. So obviously we were just talking about small businesses, but we've also referenced some very large businesses that have come in to the city and the need to attract more businesses. But talent acquisition, hiring, and retention is a nationwide problem, and Marlborough's not exempt from that. And we see that across industries. So how would you plan to help local businesses attract and retain talent to fill their needs?
I've been going to the school committee meetings, and I have heard some wonderful things that our schools are doing. And I think that's where that would start. When we want the kind of employees that are adept in this environment that we're now in, adept with technology, adept at the kind of management, and as well as the skills that we need now more than ever. Our local high school that we're sitting in, they're nearby, has internship programs, and they partner with the local hospital and local businesses. So I think that's a great place to make sure that we're starting is with our students. So making sure that our students are getting the education that they need to be able to fill those roles. As far as our existing adults out in the workforce in the world, I think continuing to support the library in the kind of education and resources that they provide is another way that, as a city councilor, we can kind of work and collaborate to make sure that we're getting everyone that we need for employment.
Great, thank you very much. Matthew, your answer?
Yeah, so I think that everywhere in the country right now, there's a demographic issue with a generation that's retiring and not enough people to fill those holes. I see it in my job, hiring HVAC mechanics and sailing the merchant marine. The average age was quite older. So getting younger folks to do those kind of jobs. I think locally we can look at fostering environment of appreciation for our workers. I know the DPW is hiring right now, and we're looking at quite a few firemen. I had some friends take the fire exam. I think it was last Saturday. But having a culture where the folks are appreciated for the work that they're doing, I think would be a great way. People that they want to feel appreciated for the work that they're doing, especially in some of these roles here with the city government and the city employees.
Thank you very much. Luis, if you could kindly ask our next question, and we'll start with Matthew for the first response.
Of course. So considering the growth of the city and the need for a new fire station, Do you have a plan, or do you support a plan to bring West Side Fire Station to the city, and what is it?
Yeah, thank you for that. So Ward 7 is lucky. We have Station 3 over on East Main Street there. Our response time is going to be a lot lower than the west side of the city. And so I fully support the city government's plan. I believe they already have the site, the money set aside to buy the land, and they're in the engineering design phase for the building itself. So I fully support the city government's plan to do that. I also think that too, we need to look at the workforce. If we're going to build a station, we also need to have the firemen to do that. So I did see a picture of the amount of people that were in line to take the fire exam, and I think that's a promising piece of that puzzle, so that when the new fire station does come online, which I hope will be extremely soon, that we'll have the firemen there and firewomen to make sure that it's staffed correctly.
Great, thank you. Greta.
Yeah, thank you for that question. The fourth fire station is a necessity. I think it's, as I said before, it's a concern to have the resources divided so thin, and then also to have additional sites in consideration. The city council meeting on Monday was discussing another set of condos over by Apex, by Avalon. If that goes in, then we're going to need even more resources. So yes, we do have good response time. One of my neighbors lit their porch on fire, and I saw it and got to call the fire department, and they were very responsive. I think we have a great team that's doing the most with what they can, but I think we need to really continue to support that, so that if Chipotle catches on fire again, there's a department that's right near there that can respond right away.
Great, thank you so much. And for our final question this evening, I'm going to turn back to Julie, and we will start with Greta for the first response.
Well, tonight we have peppered you with a ton of questions about the city and the different topics. So let's bring it back to more of a human level. What was the last series you guys streamed? And if you don't stream, what book are you reading?
That is a great question. I think it's been a while, so I think what I was watching most recently was White Lotus. Just some relaxing murder.
Okay, thank you. Matthew.
So for streaming, I have a lot of stuff on in the background, so I don't know if I'm actually watching it. But I'm currently reading History of America in 10 Strikes. And so it's a really interesting view on labor in the United States. I'm the shop steward of my local union at my job site. And so kind of understanding a little bit about the past of that. Again, it's a history book, and I think I've talked about history a lot tonight, so I'll end it there.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, so we have finished with all our questions for this evening. So we're now going to conclude our evening with closing statements. And given that we started with Greta, I'm going to ask you, Matthew, to start our closing statements this evening.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, so thank you again to the Chamber and to WMCT-TV. I will say that we can keep our city affordable by being open to business that will bring jobs, a tax base, and unique places to shop to our downtown and other shopping areas. We can keep our city safe by ensuring we have the city employees in the police, fire, and Department of Public Works to keep up with the great work that they're already doing. We can keep our city sustainable by ensuring our K-12 education continues to receive the funding it needs to provide quality education at all levels and for all students. We can keep our city transparent through open communication from all levels of city government with members of the community, from the smallest to the largest project. I vow to ensure that I will make myself available to anyone with concerns or issues in Ward 7. And we can keep our city fun by continuing to be a community where people know each other and partake in the many events that happen year-round. I met so many wonderful people in Ward 7 as I have knocked on doors in many of the neighborhoods, and I hope to see many of you at the ballot box on Tuesday, November 4th, and please vote for Matthew Sargent.
Great, thank you very much. Greta.
Thank you to WMCT-TV as well as the Chamber. I think there's one thing that I haven't kind of gotten to touch on in these questions, which is, I think community is a very important piece of being a city councilor. As part of that, listening to constituents is also making sure you create spaces for people to talk to you and to be heard. And so, in my time of running for this office, I held a Halloween block party that I invited the entire ward to, and got to meet 100 people or so, came out and not only met me, but also met each other. And I think more events like that are extremely important and the backbone of kind of helping a city run. I think we do a lot of good events, but I think continuing to have more chances for neighbors to talk and meet across the city is a deep personal priority of mine. In that same vein, I'm hosting another community day on Sunday, November 2nd at Geloni Park. Come meet with me, tell me what you think Ward 7 needs. There will be snacks and games, as well as neighbors. The last day for voting is Tuesday, November 4th. Ward 7, your voting location is Hildreth School. And I hope you'll vote for me, Greta Lofgren, for your Ward 7 City Councilor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Greta. And thank you both this evening for your time and your responses. And thank you again to our panelists for the great questions this evening. I am now going to turn it back to Michelle Mercier of the Marlborough Regional Chamber to conclude our evening.
Thank you very much, Jessica. That concludes our City Council debates for this evening. Thank you to our participants, event coordinators, live attendees, and all of you who have taken the time to watch the debate on WMCT-TV. Please check out our website at marlboroughchamber.org and join us for some upcoming events, as well as please remember to vote on November 4th. Have a great evening.
It's shout-out time. WMCT-TV would like to thank our sponsors for supporting community media here in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa, offering services including extensions and keratin smoothing, coloring and blonding, precision cutting, and more. Drumet Hair Salon and Day Spa is located at 31 Spring Hill Ave in Marlborough, Massachusetts. The Coffee Loft. Coffee and community is their motto, as they serve up lattes, cold brew, tea, sandwiches, and pastries too. The Coffee Loft is open 7 days a week at 406 Lincoln Street, here in Marlborough. The Vin Bin, bringing you the best in wine, cheese, drew, and gourmet sandwiches for 20 years and counting. The Vin Bin is located at 91 Main Street in Marlborough. Author and illustrator Mark Martirosian, host of TV's Drawing with Mark on WMCT-TV. Mark is offering free downloadable activity pages for kids of all ages. Email pennyarcadecreative@gmail.com for more information. Leah Owen, marketing and business consultant. Leah's team members and partners share her belief that great organizations, from businesses to nonprofits and more, deserve to be seen, heard, and celebrated. From social media strategy to community events, this boutique marketing agency helps local brands and organizations grow with purpose and personality.